Was Peter the first pope? This is an important question to answer because the Catholic Church claims that Peter was the first pope and the head, universal head and sovereign head of the entire church, and that the bishops of Rome are his successors. It might surprise you to know that not one bishop of Rome made this claim until Pope Leo made the claim in the 5th century. At this time, more than 400 years of Christian history had elapsed before anyone made this claim. He had Valentinian III, the Emperor of Rome, enforce this rule that he is the universal head of the church. And he ordered all the bishops to come to the Council of Chalcedon and to discuss this issue. In the end, the bishops rejected Pope Leo's claim that he is the universal head of the church, and that caused Leo and the delegation of Rome to storm out of that meeting angry. My point I want you to see is, for the first hundreds of years of Christianity, the church did not accept the idea that there was a papacy. This idea of the papacy is a twisting of Jesus' teaching to Peter and the apostles in Matthew chapter 16. Jesus had asked, "Who do you say that I am?" And Simon Peter answered, Matthew 16, "You are the Messiah, the Son of God." And Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for it was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock," he didn't say on you, Peter, he said on this rock. In other words, not Peter on what he said and what he confessed. For example, if you said to me, "I want to take you and your wife out for dinner," I might say, "Well, thank you so much for this." When I say this, I don't mean you, I mean what you promised me with your lips. Jesus said, "And upon this," in other words, his confession, "I will build my church and the gates of hell will not overcome it. And I will give you," now when he says you, it doesn't mean singular you in this particular passage. Why? "I will give you the keys of the kingdom," not key. If Jesus intended only one of the apostles to have the key, why does he use plural keys? Because he was intending the keys to be given to all the apostles. Just in case you're not sure that's true, look at Matthew chapter 18. And what do the keys do? They have the power to bind and loose. Notice, keys equal binding and loosing. Now in Matthew 18, we find that Jesus is talking to all the disciples. And then there's a lengthy discourse that Jesus gives, and he ends it with verse 18. "Truly I tell you," this is to all the apostles now, "whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." This is positive proof that the keys to bind and loose were given to all 12 apostles. Not one of the apostles had the sole possessor of the key. Because if Jesus intended only Peter to have the key, he would have simply given him a singular key. For example, if I gathered 12 people at my church and I said, "Peter, I'm going to give you the key to open up the church. Whatever you open, whatever you close, it will be open and closed." All the other 12 men would know that. I would say key. But if I brought 12 men and I said to them, "I am going to give you the keys to the church," keys, then all 12 men would recognize we all are going to have a key. That's what Jesus meant. He never intended one man to have the sole possessor of the keys. So in terms of the papacy, it was not a belief in the early Christian church. It was rejected by bishops. Even the Eastern Church 1,000 years later rejected this idea of the papacy. And it is a twisting of the passage in Matthew 16. So the answer is no, Peter was not the Pope. The bishops of Rome, therefore, are not the successor to Peter's keys. I hope this answers your question.